Welcome back to Game Day Recap. Certainly an exciting late window if you're a fan of the NFC West. The Seahawks behind Sam Darnold, boy, they have been a lot of fun. They put up 44 on the Cardinals as they moved to 7-2 on the season. And then we also saw the Rams and the 49ers go head-to-head. The Rams with Matthew Stafford as quarterback have certainly been cooking. This is going to be very interesting come week 15, week 16 even, when the playoff picture starts getting clearer and clearer. Curious to see how many of these teams will get in. Let's talk about the NFC West with our crew here on Game Day Recap. Fellas, let's start with the Rams getting that big win over the 49ers. And I know the 49ers kind of haven't been themselves this year. They're still dealing with the injuries, but they have been pretty surprising to this point. Damien, I'll come to you first here. What stands out to you most about the Rams getting the win today?
Matthew Stafford. I mean, he has played himself into MVP conversation. I mean, he's right there with Drake May. And at the stage of his career that he's at, it looks like he's having more fun. It looks like he's more confident. It looks like the relationship that he has with McVay is such an integral piece to what they do on offense and ultimately results to the success of their team. So the way that Matthew Stafford is delivering the ball, obviously when you've got guys to throw to like Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, I mean even Blake Corum and Kyron Williams. I was blanking on his name, but
I was with you.
Yeah, we were locked in. But even using your backs in the passing game, like there are a lot of elements of this LA Rams team that benefit Matthew Stafford, but also in retrospect, his age, his experience, the fact he's won a Super Bowl, it makes this team better. And again, that relational piece that he has with McVay is imperative to their success as a team.
He honestly has like a LeBron effect. I played with Staph when I was in Detroit. Like he's one of those players, one of those quarterbacks that makes everyone around him better. And the way he places the ball and the way that he's like a coach on the field when he's out there. Like there are very, very few times and situations when I watch his team play where pre-snap Stafford doesn't know what is going on, where he wants to go to with the football, or at least what part of the field he wants to attack. And I think just having that as your base point, as your start, and then you pair a guy like that up with Sean McVay, I mean, the results, it can be endless, And I think what he's doing at this stage of his career, like you mentioned, at this stage, he can't really run that much anymore and things of that nature. But he manages the game perfectly well. He puts the ball exactly where it's supposed to be. He never puts the offense behind schedule and things of that nature. Like that's how you take care of the team. That's how you take care of the offense. That's how you win games at the end of the day. So shout out to Matt Stafford.
And they do a great job of scheming stuff around him and his ability to make plays. Look, they're not fast. This is not a fast team. You look at their roster, and I think that ultimately could be a problem down the road. They don't have anybody that scares you down the field. Nacua is great. And Devontae Adams, they're great, but they're not fast guys. The running backs, they're not fast. They're good backs, but they're not fast. So I think that could be a problem down the road. But Sean McVay and Matt Stafford do such a great job of scheming things open. You saw the one throw he made to the tight end. We could have made that throw. The guy was wide open, and he just does a great job of sneaking the tight end out. You saw it. You saw the play. You called it right then. It's a favorite play. They leak out the tight end across the formation, and it's a touchdown. And a couple weeks ago against Jacksonville, he was down. He didn't have Nacua. So what did he do? He threw 5 touchdown passes to 5 different guys. That's what he does. He spreads the ball around, and I think McVay is so good. I said this when we were watching the games. Their offensive line, to a man, if you took it and put it on another team, probably wouldn't be as good. But in that scheme and the way they scheme it up, they make it easier on them, and that line is now good, and they can protect them, and they can run the ball, and everything about that Rams offense is going to be tough unless the lack of speed shows up down the road. Tutu Atwell has speed. They don't use him, but that's the only guy.
That's your boy. You're always talking about Tutu Atwell and that speed.
Get him the ball.
The Rams are on a 4-game win streak, by the way, and each of those 4 games they've won by 14 or more points. So it feels like they are starting to click in the right time. Devontae Adams is coming alive. Just kind of a lot of older dudes out there really getting it done for the Rams. Let's talk about the Seahawks, though. Kind of the opposite problem in Seattle. You've got the young guys really stepping up to the plate. We had that scare with JSN, a little concussion scare there, but he came back. Are we talking enough about how dominant the Seattle team has been over the last, 3 or 4 weeks?
No. And in fact, they might be the best team in the league right now. I was talking to a guy 3 weeks ago, and he said to me, he goes, Seattle's going to end up being the best team in the league. And I said, why would you say that? He goes, look at their defensive front. And, the calling card, everybody always talked about the Legion of Boom back in the day, and they were great in the back end. But the calling card of those teams were Cliff Averill, Michael Bennett, and those guys getting after the quarterback. Well, this group gets after the quarterback. I mean, Byron Murphy might be playing as good as any defensive tackle in the league, and they can come at you in waves. And you saw it. They turned the ball over. DeMarcus Lawrence had 2 touchdowns today. They didn't even need Sam Darnold to do anything today. I mean, he actually made mistakes today. And so the bottom line is, why are they good? They will throw the ball down the field. He came into this week averaging 9.6 per attempt. They're one of the few teams in the league that drive the ball down the field, and they can get after the quarterback. And when you play with a lead, you turn those pass rushers loose. That's a great combination.
And they can run the football on top of that. I mean, come on, let's give some love to them.
They haven't been running it that well.
Well, they haven't, but they did today. I mean, when you look at Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, they combined for 150 yards total. And Kenneth Walker is a guy that we kind of buried a little bit, and we were wondering, where was he at? I mean, he popped on the scene fresh early in his career, but then it kind of started to lull a little bit. Well, he's stepping back on the scene. He's bringing Charbonnet with him. And again, when you talk about resources for Sam Darnold, it is that defense, and it is the ability to run the football, play action off of it, and open up lanes in the passing game for Sam Darnold.
I was trying to get the standings pulled up here. Seahawks and Rams are the 2 teams in all of the NFL that rank top 5 in points per game as well as opponent points per game. So that tells you that they're getting it done on both sides of the ball here. Which team do you see separating themselves? The Seahawks
Well, we'll know next
or the
week. They
Rams?
play each other next week.
Okay.
They're the 2 best. Right now, they're the 2 best teams in the league, in my mind. And, whoa, where are you going? Aside from being a homer, where are you going?
Well, no. I mean, I'm thinking, though, because when I think about, the Seahawks, by far and away, I think are the best team in the NFL. Would I put the Rams in that conversation? I'm not sure yet. But again, that's why the games
What's
are
your
played.
hesitation?
I got to see him play.
Okay.
I want to watch him play.
Okay.
I want to watch him play. When I look at the dominance of Seattle in the games that they've played, I don't think the Rams have dominated their games that they've won in the same style, the same format. They're a good team. Don't get me wrong, like we're talking about Matthew Stafford, he's in the MVP conversation, but they just haven't dominated teams the way that the Seattle Seahawks have.
Yeah, I think you said it really. They're playing a style of football that you like late in the season. Like the way they're playing in terms of the run game, in terms of the physicality, in terms of defensively limiting big plays. I mean, you saw today, I think Trey McBride had 130 yards receiving. Their receivers, I don't think they had one over 60 yards.
Nope.
So, like, they're limiting the big plays and the shots and things of that nature, and then they get after you in terms of the defensive line, the sacks, the pressures. Those types of things are there. Physically, they're built that way to last up front in the trenches, and I think that's really what matters the most. And then you talk about Sam Darnold and JSN, maybe the best quarterback wide receiver duo this year right now. There's a lot to love about this team. We saw what Darnold was able to do in Minnesota, and now bringing his style of football and his game over here. Clearly, his story is not done written. I think this team has a lot of high hopes for a great year this year.
Is this an MVP in Sam Darnold, do you think?
Candidate, absolutely. I think it's time we give him his respect. Absolutely.
Okay.
Today didn't help him, though. He didn't put up any big numbers today. So
Wasn't good enough for you?
No. I mean, he didn't have to.
Yeah, he did.
didn't
But
have
he's
to.
been doing it this
He
whole
has.
entire,
He's been great.
this whole
He's
entire
been
year, though.
great.
He's been doing
He's
it.
been fantastic.
Yeah.
Next week, the game between those 2, that'll tell you who the best team in the league is.
All right, we'll keep our eye on it. Like Pete said, we are looking forward to seeing those teams clash. But boy, the NFC West has been a lot of fun. All right, got to hit a break here on Game Day Recap. Still plenty to talk about, though, here on this Sunday. What happened to the Buffalo Bills? Boy, they came down to South Florida and left with the biggest L in recent history. We'll talk about it next on Game Day Recap.